All right, welcome back, creatives. I'm Jahrell, your music technologist, here to help you master the tech you need to make music freely. I make weekly tip and tutorial videos and gear reviews and things like that, going live every Tuesday. So if you enjoy that kind of content, go ahead and hit that like button, subscribe, and don't forget to hit the notification bell so you don't miss the next time I go live. That said, let's jump into our topic today. So we're talking about the best plugins for mixing and mastering on the iPad, and those are definitely the FabFilter plugins. Now, this isn't going to be a full-on review, but it's going to be more of an overview of kind of what the plugins do, because there's a lot of them, and it's definitely probably the best money I've spent on iPad music production to this day. So we're gonna go ahead and jump into it. I'm gonna pull up my iPad screen and we're gonna look at my FX plugins right here, and this is them. So this is more than just the FabFilter plugins, but the FabFilter ones are Pro Q3, we got Pro R, Pro C2. Let me actually put it where you guys can see it better. Hopefully that might be better. So we've got, Pro Q3, Pro R, Pro C2, Pro DS, Pro G, Pro MB, and Pro L2. So that's the whole suite. That's in the Pro bundle. So if you pick that up, I checked on the App Store. It is currently $119. I know that's pretty steep for iPad plugins, but I'm telling you, these ones they're top line. They're pro mixing and mastering tools, and we're gonna dive a little bit into exactly how these work. So let me pull up some Beatmaker 3 for you guys, and I'll show you how I've used these in the past. So here we go. And again, if you have any questions as we're going along, feel free to drop those down in the chat, and I'll get to those when we get to the question and answer segment of the video. We'll go up here to a little jingle, which is, for those of you that know, oh, great, we'll search the directory, you should find everything. For those of you that know, I released a song called A Little Jingle around Christmas time, and I actually did everything for this track and for the vocal processing, almost everything for the vocal processing, on the iPad, and I used the FabFilter suite of plugins to do that. The only thing I actually exported the vocals out for and used my computer for was for manual tuning, which I did in FL Studio, because there's no such thing yet on the iPad. When that comes, I guarantee you I'll be doing all of my mixing and mastering on my iPad. But here's what we did. So on the master channel, let me go to the master channel. Right here, we'll load up the effects. Oh yeah, I just did koala on that one. But I definitely, let me find my verses. Yep, here we go. Verse 1 vocals. So this is the effects chain I did when I did my vocals. I'll pull this up a little higher so you guys can see it. This is the vocal chain I did. So the first thing I use is Pro Q3, and this is what it looks like right here. It is a very, very well made EQ, and it's really powerful, does a whole lot, and I like the visual of it, as it's playing. I'll play some audio for you guys so you can see. Make sure we're unmuted here. Here we go. Let me just find the verse section. That would be right here. So here's what that sounds like.
Ooh, we say 'tis the season.
We're getting audio. Let's see. Okay.
Ooh, we say 'tis the season. Well, I got joy for a reason.
So here's what Pro Q3 looks like as it's playing.
But that ain't the reason I'm speaking of. This Christmas is different.
So that's the visual there. The thing I love the most about Pro Q3 when it comes to vocal mixing is everything just works. I know when it comes to iPad music production, sometimes we get plugins that will kind of, they'll be spotty, they'll not work sometimes. anything FabFilter that I've used, it works really well, and I don't have to worry about it, having issues down the road or forgetting my settings. That never happens. I've had issues like that with other things, but that's Pro Q3. Again, like I said, this is just an overview. It's not a review. I will do some deep diving into how to mix and master on this channel, looking to start a series on that. But that's Pro Q3. You can add. I'll show you a couple more things in Pro Q3. So one of the things I like the most is everything's very easy to map. So here's me selecting this dot right here. This is just a point in the frequency spectrum, and I can select it, and there's some things that I can change. So I like to have a 24 decibel roll off, so it's a pretty steep and harsh cut. A lot of other stock plugins and stuff won't give you that option, but what I did was I hit that, go down here and press this 24 dB, and you can actually change how steep the cut. So the higher you go, the more steep the cut is, and that's really helpful for really trying to have some intense cuts in your frequency spectrum when you're doing EQing. So Mobile Music Pro, welcome my friend. Pro C2 is the next one we're going to talk about. Pro C2 is a compressor, and it does exactly what it says it does. It's a really well-oiled compressor. And what I like about anything compression in FabFilter, because it's not the only compressor they have in the bundle, but it has a mix knob. So you have wet and dry down here, so you can compress it to your liking, and then get your parameters worked in, and then you can come down here and you can kind of turn the dry up or down, and kind of if your settings are particularly harsh, you can kind of ease those out and get them to sound a lot more natural. And then so another thing that I like about the whole FabFilter suite is any setting you set, any group of settings you set, you can come in here and make presets. All you have to do is click Save As. Now, the only annoying thing I've noticed is the text on this, for whatever reason, is in white, and the background is white. So when you type in the names of your presets, you can't really see them, which is kind of strange. Yeah. Yes. Mobile Music Pro says parallel compression. Yes, that is entirely possible with the FabFilter suite. I have done some parallel compression before. I might do a video on how to do that if you guys are interested in it. And then we have the Pro Multi-Band Compressor. So a multi-band compressor can do a lot of things. A multi-band compressor, you can use it just to compress a couple specific points in the frequency spectrum, or you can use it to you can even replace your EQ with it, depending on how you want to EQ your vocals. But the multi-band compressor is pretty dope. I'll play some audio just so you can see how the visualization of everything in these plugins is really dope.
With all it may be missing, but all I want for Christmas has already been given.
So I just think the visual representation of what's happening with the sound is really solid. Mobile Music Pro, thank you for jumping in the chat and helping with some questions. Prod 7 Memories, I definitely am going to have a Q&A section. I'll get to some more questions, but just to answer your question really quick, a really realistic bass on Beatmaker 3 for a lo-fi beat. I've talked about this before. I think a lot of what you have in either Bassalicious was mentioned, or you can get some good synth sounding basses. I know that's not like realistic, but sometimes it goes really well with lo-fi, is the Moog Model D, and I talked about that in a recent video. But aside from that, you can kind of turn just about any bass sound into something that sounds more natural with EQing. So far we got Pro Q3, we got Pro C2, which Pro Q3 is your equalizer, and then you've got compression, and then you've got multi-band compression, creating beautiful songs coming in from Canada. Welcome. That's awesome. Obviously QualFX is not part of the FabFilter suite, but Pro De-Essers. So a lot of these plugins are really just compressors, but they do specific things. So a de-esser is compressing a particular frequency spectrum, generally in the highs, but you can set that frequency spectrum right here. It's compressing your highs so that you can get rid of those really crisp S's that really kill your sound and your mix. They turn out very harsh. A de-esser helps with that, and so I definitely put some de-esser on just about any vocal I do. Throw some de-esser on there, and let me back it up a little bit, and I'll play for you, show you the visual on this one too.
Ooh, we say 'tis the season, well I got joy for a reason. The trees looking weak but we're eating up, but that ain't the reason I'm speaking of.
Yep. So one thing I like that's really cool about the Pro DS is you can set your frequency spectrum, but as you're listening to it, you can actually audition the frequency range that you've selected. So if I press play now, you're going to hear my vocals, but just this super high frequency spectrum right here. So that's the part that's being compressed. You can also press this button right here. Let me actually go to the mixer panel and I'll mute the instrumental so you can actually hear what's happening. So, oh, is one of these muted? That's strange. Here, we'll mute that. That should do it. Yeah, so there we go. When I press that, you can see it's only going to play the parts that are being cut out of the frequency spectrum. Prod 7 Memories, you're very welcome. Happy to help, my friend. So, as this is playing, you can hear the S's that are actually being pulled out of the sound, which is super dope. And as you adjust these knobs, that signal will obviously change. So, it's a very powerful de-esser. And so those are the ones that I use the most. Those 4 plugins are, in my opinion, the best bang for the buck. Now that's specifically for vocal processing. When it comes to your music production, a really good EQ is always a good call. Now the Beatmaker 3 stock EQ is plenty powerful, but it's just, there's not a whole lot happening there visually, and I feel like it's not as powerful as the FabFilter one. It gives you less things that you can do, like I was saying about having harsh cuts. And as Mobile Music Pro is saying, FabFilter tools are definitely industry standard. If you were to get the FabFilter Pro, like the equivalent of the Pro bundle for the desktop, that bundle goes for $899, which is, you know, that's what plugins like this cost when it comes to desktop. But this set of plugins from FabFilter is going for $119 instead, which is super dope. And I actually got this on sale. They often have sale. I don't know how often they have sales, but I got it during the winter time. They had a sale going, and I got this whole bundle for like $85, $89, which is insane. That's literally 1% of the price. Well, I guess, sorry, that's 10% of the price to get the full desktop bundle. So if you're going, you know, something that's really important to consider when you're making your music is always think about the quality of the music you're putting out, the quality of sound. And in order to do that, you know, you have to have good tools. And that's what FabFilter is. So really quick, I want to talk about, there's a few more plugins that are included in this bundle. I did not specifically use them in this project. So what I'm going to do is actually swipe out of this, and I will pull up the effects plugin itself just to show you what it looks like. So we've already done Pro Q3. Oh, Pro R. We got to get to Pro R. I'll get there. Pro G is a gate plugin. I don't really want it to get my audio. Yeah, let's not do this. I don't want it to have my microphone audio in there. So I'll tell you what I'll do. I'll just pull up. Pretty sure I used some of these plugins in that little jingle session. So I'll just pull it back up. And then I'll show you guys what I'm talking about. I can't forget to mention Pro R, you guys. Pro R is their reverb plugin, and it's a really, really solid reverb, and it sounds really great. And I'll try to find a place where I used it in here. I know I used it on a recent track, so I'll pull that up too and show you how it works in more instrumental type things rather than just vocals. But let's see, we got verse 2 vocals. Okay, yeah, we wouldn't have any. Oh, we have it on the auxiliary. Yeah, so Pro R looks like this. And we will play some vocals and you can see what it looks like as it plays.
Ooh, we say 'tis the season, well I got joy for a reason. The trees looking weak but we're eating up, but that ain't the reason I'm speaking of. This Christmas is...
So again, the visual representation of what's happening is super dope in my opinion. I like that it shows the vocal fading out, it gets more blurry the more intense you make the decay and things like that, and it really does a really good job of showing you a visual representation of what's happening audibly. But there's a lot of parameters in here. So, you can set your decay rate, the size of your room, the distance, which is kind of like the delay of the reverb. So when it comes to the distance, the farther away, the later the reverb is going to hit. You've got your mix here, which, you can set how much reverb you want, how much of everything you want to be coming through. What I really, really, really like about this plugin is you can set custom decay rate depending on what part of the frequency spectrum is reverberating. So this is super dope. I know that might have sounded complex, but here's what's happening with that. So right here I have like a little tail that's been pulled down. What that's doing is it's cutting off the reverb from the really low sections, and that's helping when it decays. The lows are going to decay faster, so you're not going to get that boomy reverb. And it's also cutting out a good, chunk of the mids. So you're getting a lot more high tail and the low mid tail when it comes to the reverb. Now, obviously, you can change that. And, you just do it by adding more points. And it's as simple as that. And another thing that's dope about this plugin is it has its own built-in undo and redo buttons, which is so helpful. So helpful. And that's built into every single one of these plugins. It's an undo and redo button. And then you have a post EQ. So you can I filtered out a lot of the lows when it came to what's going to come out of this plugin, because that's what I wanted for my vocals. So that's Pro R, and it works really well in a lot of scenarios. So what I'll do right now is, thank you guys for hanging with me as I do all this transitioning, but I'm going to pull up a track I was working on recently, where I used it on a synth, and I feel like it turned out really good. Here it is. Some of you guys might have heard this track before, but I'll play for you the chorus, and I have this flute sound that's going, and I put Pro R on it, and it sounds really good. So let me find that section right here. Here it is. Cool. So that's the section right there. I'll play for you. Here's this right here is the flute sound. I'll solo that for you. Here's what it sounds like. Yeah, and that cutting out that you guys hear is the side chain from the kick. Browntone 001 asks, how do you side chain in Q3? I will cover something like that probably in a future video. But side chaining is a compression, so it probably wouldn't be something that you would do in Q3. It'd probably be something you would do in C2. And I honestly like the side chaining that's built into Beatmaker 3 better. And I know different people are using different DAWs, but I'll talk more about side chaining in the future. So really quick, I'll show you in the mixer panel. In the audio effects. Here's Pro R right here on the top, and without Pro R, here's what that same synth sounds like. Oops. Let's go back to song. Okay, here's what that sounds like without Pro R. Pretty wimpy. Yeah, so the quality of sound that comes out of this reverb, let me play it for you with the reverb on, is pretty killer. Here it is, and I'll pull up the plugin so you can see it. There it is. So Pro R's are really good reverb. I think I've harped on that enough. Let's move on to the last few plugins. So let's see. The last couple are the limiter, which is L2, and then let me make sure I've got all of them covered. So we've got L2, and then we've got Pro G, and I think we've covered all the others. Yeah, so L2 and Pro G. Pro G is a gate, a noise gate, and it's actually really helpful for vocals, specifically for cutting out, if you're someone that does vocal ad-libs, what you can do instead of doing all these obnoxious chops trying to make sure you don't have extra sound in between your ad-libs, you can throw a noise gate on it, and that will kill all the noise that you don't want to have in there. And I'm not going to go in depth on how to do that today, but Pro G is the best noise gate I've used on iPad. So I will pull up what I did for a recent song. I'll go back to a little jingle because I'm pretty sure I used some noise gate. I'm not 100%, but I think so. Of course, Koala can't initiate. Koala's been letting me down a lot these days with being unstable. But that's why you have tools like FabFilter that are pro things that don't break. So, let's see. Did I use some on the singing vocals? Let's see. These outro vocals, I might have used some Pro G. No? Do we have any Pro G in here? Well, it doesn't look like I used any Pro G on this, but for example, I'll pull some up. I think this is, let's see. Yeah, we got the hook vocals. That'll work. We'll pull up some Pro G on the hook vocals. We'll just solo those. And we'll go in here and go to Pro G. This is not where I would place this in the signal flow, but for demonstration, I'll show you. By the way, this is how you pull up one of these plugins. You go into Add Audio Effect, and then you'll go in here and hit Audio Unit, and then Audio Unit again, and then you can scroll through here, and here is the whole FabFilter suite right here. And Pro G is right there at the top. Hit Load, Show Plugin. This is what Pro G looks like, and you can set your threshold for this. That's your main adjustment for how much sound you want to come through. This is obviously going to sound really weird because I just threw this on here, but I'll show you what it looks like just for demonstration purposes.
Oh, here's a little jingle, the best gift I could give.
So as you bring this down,
to tell you about that gift,
as you bring it up,
nobody else could give. Whoa, oh, here's a little jingle to share with the ones you love. Tell him God loved the world so much that he gave us his son.
So as you can see, the visual representation is really good as it's scrolling. I like that everything's really big here. Instead of having a little tiny screen on the side in the stock Beatmaker 3 plugins. But Pro G is just a noise gate. It's as simple as that. And I'm not going to go too long on that. It's a noise gate. It's a really good noise gate. And what I'll do is I'll pull up the last effect we haven't talked about yet, and that is Pro L2. So this is something, I'll throw it on the master for you guys. Pro L2 is a limiter, and that's something that you would use for mastering more than you would use for anything else. So we'll go into the main, and we'll throw a limiter on it. I didn't actually happen to use one on this because I didn't feel like I needed it. But there's Pro L2. And you can watch, as it plays, here's what it looks like.
Ooh, we say 'tis the season, well, I got joy for a reason.
So, obviously, I'm not limiting anything yet, so you're not seeing anything change, but I can adjust gain here, and I can bring it up. The higher the gain, the more your limiter is going to, compress the peaks. And that's something that you would do in the final stages of mastering is, get a good limiter on there. But as I crank this,
say 'tis the season, well, I got joy for a reason.
You can see it's dropping some peaks down as I am increasing the gain. And that's, that's how limiter works. Like I'm saying with all of these plugins, my favorite part is that they're just so, the translation of what's happening audibly to what's happening visually is done really well. Now, beyond that, the fact that this is an industry standard, set of suite of plugins is amazing that it's here on the iPad, and I haven't seen anything better than it. You have my recommendation 100%. This works really well in any DAW I've used it in, the whole FabFilter Pro bundle. If you want to buy these plugins individually, you can. You're going to end up spending more money. But if you're someone that, you don't do any mastering and you don't feel like you will, then you can just get what you need. But I recommend the Pro bundle. It's the best money I've spent. Dylan Gorenberg, my friend, welcome to the stream. I'm glad you're here. Dylan Gorenberg, matter of fact, I forgot I can do this feature. I can pull up a comment right here. So Dylan Gorenberg, my buddy from college, says, do you find the iPad limiting your workflow since you can't see the arrange window while using the FabFilter products? That's a really good question. And sometimes that's my answer is, sometimes it's annoying that I can't see my arrangement as I am seeing, what's happening in the plugin. And that's more, I think, a limitation of Beatmaker 3 than it is a limitation of the plugins or anything else like that, or even the iPad. Different DAWs do it differently than Beatmaker 3. Like Cubasis, for example, you can, with Music Pro, you're always one step ahead of me. Yes, you can still see it because in Cubasis, you can resize the window. You can, stretch it as big as you want it and still be able to see the tracking window as you wish. So that's a solution. Use Cubasis or something like that, which is, I would recommend Cubasis for tracking, mixing, and for mastering and things like that because of how well it's designed for that. I think Beatmaker 3 is certainly powerful and capable of doing, mixing and mastering, but it's not, done very well visually. So Cubasis can step in for that. But good question, Dylan. Glad you asked. I'm glad you're here, man. It's cool to see you in the chat. What we're going to do now, before I move on, we're going to... Well, actually, that is what we're going to do. We're going to go ahead and move on and transition into some secondary content. So, I've gotten some questions before in the past about how to tune my basses and my 808s. And that's what we're going to talk about. We're going to dive into Beatmaker 3, and I'm going to show you guys how I go about making sure my basses are in tune every single time. And it's really a lot simpler than you think. So stick around. We'll be right back. Okay, we are back. Welcome back. I've got a session pulled up here, a track that actually we made in the last live stream, which had some technical difficulties, which is why, ironically, I named this track Technical Difficulties. But here it is loaded up. I'm going to show you exactly what I do with my basses and how I got this to sound exactly right the first time. So really quick, I'm actually going to pull up my MIDI keyboard right here. Make sure we get it paired, and then I will show you exactly what I did. Make sure it's turned on. Okay, connected. Connecting, there we go, connected. All right, so here is the track. I'll start it right here from the beginning. Okay, so anyway, that's where we've gotten to with that track. But this is the bass I use. I use the Moog Model D, and you guys saw me do this in real time, live last time if you were here. And I'll show you exactly how I worked on getting everything in tune. So first things first, you're not guaranteed to have a bass sample that's in tune. What you're going to want to do is make sure the sample that you're choosing is something that's been tuned. A lot of times if you're getting, you know, a sample from online, there'll be something that tells you what note it's on. It'll say, you know, whatever the name of the bass is, and then it'll have, you know, C2 or C3, or sometimes it's A, you know, it just depends on what note it is. And you want to make sure that you know what note that is, because I personally like to tune everything to C. And if this sounds complex, don't worry, I'm going to break it down. It's really simple. So make sure, the first thing I did when I made this is I made sure I had harmony first. Now, I know this is different for a lot of different people, but for me personally, if I'm going to have accurate bass and know what in the world I'm doing and, you know, have a decent flow in trying to make a track, you're going to want to have some harmony in there. So this piano you heard at the beginning is the first thing I played in. I had my chords set before I tried to play in bass. So here's what, you know, this piano I played in. So I had an idea of what I wanted to do harmonically before I tried to add bass. If you start with bass, it can be kind of iffy because you're not sure what you're hearing. You don't have anything to line it up with. So make sure you have harmony or melody first, or both, before you add bass. And another thing I would say, you know, this isn't a must, but try to have your percussion down first, because a lot of times when you're playing in bass, you want it to map with your percussion. Like bass, like drum and bass, they're supposed to work well together, and I find it works better to have the drums in there first. So the next step is make sure you pick a clean 808 or sub. There's a lot of dirty, you know, especially 808s. And sub basses, but a lot of 808s have, you know, pitches that change. So I'll show you a couple examples of that. I have in my imports, samples, splice, sounds. We'll go to 808 Mafia. There we go. So some of these 808s are going to have, you know, notes that kind of change and drop as it goes. That one's pretty steady, and notice it says C, that's the note it starts on. That's important to keep in mind. That one's pretty solid. There is some pitch change in that one. That one has a little bit of pitch drop. So you'll notice generally the 808s that I choose tend to have a pretty consistent tone, and I do that on purpose because trying to tune an 808 that, you know, isn't really one note the whole time is a pain. So pick a sample that has, you know, a consistent tone, and in this case I picked Model D, which has a very consistent tone. This patch in particular does. So far we've got harmony, melody picked, we got a clean sub bass, and then what I do is I start with opening a piano plugin if I need to do some manual tuning. So for the purpose of this, I'm going to actually add another bass just so you can see what I'm talking about, and we'll pull up one of these 808s. Let's just use this one. And then we'll pull up a piano. Oh, that one's got some vibe. let's pull up a new piano, fresh piano, and you want to have a piano, something, it doesn't have to be a piano, but something that has a consistent tone. And I'm going to use Ravenscroft. So we can see, obviously this is C3 right here. And we want to tune to C because it's simple. I mean, it's easy. It doesn't have to be C, but that's what I do. So we're going to tune our bass to C. So the 808 we have here, if you hear that, actually sounds pretty in tune because it is the note C, in fact. Now, if this wasn't the note C, what I could do is come in here to keys, and if it seemed like it was in tune but it was just a different note, I can press this semitone button, or I can just play in what note I think it is. But that can get really messy. What you're going to want to do is you're going to want to bring everything up a couple octaves and try to find it. That's not the same. We got C sharp, there's C, and it's a consistent tone. You can hear that a lot better. So that's a pro tip. When it comes to making your 808s and your basses, play stuff up a couple octaves so that it sounds right. So when I played this in, for example, this bass right here, when I was figuring out what I was going to play, I was playing it up a couple octaves, and you'll notice that's what I did in the live stream. Let's see. I had to figure out the notes, right? Those are the notes. I played them down a couple octaves, though. I found those notes up the octave, played it in the octave, and brought it down in post. What that does is, it ensures that you're playing the right notes, because basses can get really muddy, and you don't want to just, unless you're really confident in your bass, your ear for bass, I would play stuff in a couple octaves up, so you're getting the right notes, and then just drop it down afterwards, and you're going to end up with a much cleaner sound. You're going to have the right notes in there, because there's nothing worse than having the wrong bass notes below it. So we've got everything tuned up, we checked it against the piano, and then when you're trying to figure out what to play, this part can be a little bit intimidating, is you want to make sure that you are finding the root notes of each chord. So that's the easiest way to figure out a bass line. When I was working on this particular song, I was looking at my chords. You can actually go in here and look. The bass note for this chord, and that happens to be the root because I know I'm playing an E chord. Those effects on there are making it kind of sound wonky, but we have an E chord, right? E is in the bass, and the next chord has an F sharp in the bass. So those are the notes I used when trying to form my bass line, and that's right, you can hear that. That's E. That's F sharp. So when you're trying to make sure you have everything in tune, it's really important to start your bass lines with the root note. Figure out the root note. If you don't want to stay on the root note the whole time, notice I didn't. I played a bass line, but it always ground back to the root. I say always. Obviously, when it comes to music, these rules are meant to be broken. But when you know the rules, they're helpful. Yeah. So another thing. Let's see. We had one more thing on here. No, that's it. Yep. Record up a couple octaves and drop it in post. I'll do some more content in the future covering, how to make good bass lines. If that's something you guys are interested in, definitely let me know down in the comments. But now the next thing we're going to transition into is some Q&A. So I'm going to go back over some questions in the chat, and we'll get into those. And if there's any questions you have right now in regards to anything we've talked about, or just any questions that are coming to your mind right now, I'm happy to answer them. Just drop them in the chat right now. So really quick, let me see what we got here. Okay. Yeah, we kind of already talked about realistic bass in Beatmaker 3. Terrence Mosley had a question saying, "Question, fam, is the ProFab 3? I think you're saying Q3, one of the best best EQs on the iOS platform." 100%. Pro Q3 is one of the best, if not the best, EQ on the iOS platform. Like I was talking about before, it's industry standard. Cool. How to sidechain in Q3? Yeah, we talked about that as well. Let's see. Just going over your questions really quick. Yeah, I think we got them all. All right, dope. So thank you guys for hanging in. What we're gonna do next is transition into some live beat making. So I got to get a couple things set up. It's gonna take about we'll make it 3 minutes, and I'll be right back making some jams. So stay tuned. Don't go anywhere. We're gonna be making some music live. See you in a sec. Okay, we are back. Yo, Benjamin Demers, welcome back, my friend. It's always good to see you here in the chat on the stream. You caught us right as we're about to get into some live beat making. So, Baltimore in the building. Welcome, Ron Worth. Awesome. We're going to get into some live beat making now. That's what's about to happen. So, I'm going to pull this up. Pull up a new session. And usually when I start a new beat, I have something in mind, but tonight I literally have nothing in mind. So I'm just gonna kind of go where it goes, and we'll see what happens. So get the headphones on. Let's see. Man, I have an idea. Let's see. Benjamin, yeah, I'm thinking of something in the chill vibes territory. I don't know about R&B, but we shall see. I'm gonna go in through. I've been really into the Counts sample packs lately. I just have a couple of them. I don't have all of them, but yeah, let's see what we got. That's vibey for real. That's pretty fire. I might use that. I'm gonna throw that in here. Might chop up some samples. I don't usually do a whole lot of sample chopping, but we might get into it tonight. We shall see. Actually, you know what? Let me undo that. I don't want it in the actual kit. I'd rather put it in the sample. Yeah, here we go. Put it in there, and then we'll chop it up. Benjamin, where I get Count sample packs, you can get them from his website. He has a couple that are on Splice. You can check that out if you're a Splice member. He has a couple, but he also has some packs that he makes. Sometimes he gives them out for free, or he'll say, you know, give what you can, and you can kind of put in an amount for yourself, and you know, download them that way. So it's Count with a K, the Count. And you know, follow him on Twitter. The man is a beast. He does a lot of really good live percussion sounds that he does himself in his studio. All of his stuff is super wavy, super dope. So this is some of his stuff right here. Let me pull up another bank so I can add some more samples. I'm really feeling this grump kick lately, so I think we'll use that. Ooh, I don't know, the magic kick's pretty good too. Let's see. Might use that again too. Oof. That's nice. Man, it kind of makes me want to play some of my own roads. Let's pull up House Mark 1. I don't know if we still have sound. Oh yeah, there we go. I need my sustain pedal. Oh. There we go. There we go. Get a little more brightness. Alright, cool. Alright. Oh, okay, Henny. Let's see what my tempo's at. I don't know where I want to go from there. Let's see. I'm gonna change up my tempo. All right, we'll roll with that. All right, here we go. Oh, be helpful if I start on the right note. I don't know if I like that last chord. We shall see. Let's try minor there. I think I do like that. Let's loop it. All right, Benjamin, appreciating the suggestions. Maybe I will try a little melody. We should see. I'm feeling drums right now, though, so I'm gonna lay some. I'm gonna pull this closer if we can. There we go. I'm gonna try it. Dang it, I should have turned the quantize off. Let's try that one more time. I was like, why does everything sound all square? Yeah, let's turn the quantize off. Ronworth asks, do you like Mark 1 over the Neo Soul keys? I haven't tried Neo Soul keys, to be honest. I'd definitely give it a shot. But I do very much enjoy House Mark 1. It's pretty killer for me. Benjamin Demers says, yeah, you like Mark 1. I'm interested to try Neo Soul keys, see what it's like, but feeling Mark 1 as of right now. All right, let's try to get some drums in here. Hats in here. Let me, I have some good hats I can put in here. Try something lo-fi. There might be something specifically in here. Maybe I will try that. Let's see about some claps though. Grump kick, man. All right. That needs to be a little lower. Let's get some hats in there. Hey, you guys, let me know down in the chat if the volume is really loud or peaking a lot. I'd like to know. I can adjust that for you guys. Just let me know if it's sounding weird. All right, here we go. Turn that down. Yeah, no, the hats are pretty loud. We'll get everything mixed in a little bit. Yeah, some of these are pretty obnoxious. Yeah. Okay. Let's get some melodies in here. Maybe some bass. Want to delve into the I'm definitely gonna use some mellow sound. I don't think I'll use it for basses, but let's try some Bassalicious. It's been a while. Benjamin wants to know what's the name of the kit. The count kit that I'm using, I'll check it for you. For sure, man. It's, let's see, it's in my non-splice. There's 2 packs I'm using. The one I'm using right now is the Count's Good Time sample pack. This one's older. I don't know if it's still available or not. He might have it. But then there's the Count's Care Package 2. He has the first care package, I just never got it. But yeah, the one I'm using right now is Count's Good Time sample pack. You're welcome. All right. Let's see. C there instead? Let's see if we can get that in. Let me get that again. Actually, I'm going to quantize triplet 16ths. Yeah, or triplet 8ths. Might feel a little plastic, but we'll see. Right, no, here we go. I keep wanting to go to F again. Let's do that again. Okay, so I think I needed to have set this to 16th triplets. Let's try that again. Add some bells in here. That's why I pulled them over here for. Let's see. I have to find a good arpeggio. Maybe I'll try that on piano and then I'll try playing it live after. Let's see. Haze 2 bass cabinet, 2 on tape bass and Baselicious. I haven't tried Haze 2 bass cabinet. Is that a separate app? Benjamin, yeah, no, I don't always take my. Sometimes I take it off, sometimes I don't. In this case, I don't trust myself to play really great rhythms right off the bat for bass, so that's why I have the quantize on, and I have it set to triplet, so it's not super square. But sometimes I do leave it on. Sometimes I leave it off. If that answers the question. Yeah, Baselicious 2 is good. I just haven't used it in a while. I've been using Moog Model D so much, but let's see if I can get something figured out. Got some ideas. Probably pretty loud. Alright, Benjamin, have a good one, man. Thanks for rolling through. Yeah, something like that. Alright, gotta try to get those octaves in. Alright, let's put it in, we'll turn off quantize. Whew, let's try this. These octaves are hard, man. I'm telling you. Let me undo that. Alright, here we go. Alright, I'm gonna double this up and we'll just play it until we get it. That's what we'll do. Boom, boom, boom. And we'll put it there. Oh, wrong instrument. Here we go. part of that. No, I'm just gonna redo that. Ooh, okay, let's try again. Oof, I was so close, man. All right, I'm gonna leave that, and then we'll just fix it. I think that was pretty good. Oh yeah, Professor Rolling Thunder. Yeah, about the MIDI controller. Dude, I totally get you on the clicking. The clicking can get annoying. But the thing is, I don't know, most of the time I have my headphones on, so I don't hear it. I know you guys hear it through the mic, which is probably really annoying. But I don't know, it just feels good, even though it's like, it could also be the way I'm playing it pretty hard. But yeah, I don't know, man. It really is personal choice. I happen to like it, even though it really does sound like you're typing. But I don't know, it works. As far as the tempo, yeah, I do swing. I didn't put any global swing. Matter of fact, this is a good question. I'm glad you asked this. For the swing on this track, no, I don't have any global swing on. I'm doing everything myself. The problem with the global swing is it can tend to feel a little bit robotic. And it doesn't leave you much freedom. So when I know I have something that I want to feel really organic and not have so much of like a boxy swing to it, I'll just play with no quantize on. And if I feel like it needs to be quantized, I'll go in and I'll quantize that specific instrument, and I'll set it to, matter of fact, let me show you. So in here, say I got this hi-hat, and say it wasn't exactly what I wanted it. Hit quantize, and then I'll put it on triplet, or actually I might even just leave it on normal, but I'll turn the swing up on this, and that allows me to set varying degrees of swing per instrument. Sometimes you want your drums to swing harder than you want your melody to swing, and this gives you that flexibility. So if I want to quantize something to swing, I'll set a swing amount right here, and then that frees me up to not have the same percentage for every single instrument. So hopefully that answers your question. Let's see. That's kind of late right there. Sorry, Professor Roland, I missed your question about the weighted keys. The keys on the X key are not weighted. They have there's like a point at which when you're pressing, the key gives. I don't think there's really any way I can like show you that. But here's the depth of the keys. They're really slim. But when you press it, there's like a tension to it at first, and then it kind of gives under the pressure, kind of like a regular typing key. obviously it's not weighted. Though when I need something, that I need to have like weighted real keys, I use this bad boy in the back. This is the Alesis Recital Pro. This is a full 88 key keyboard with weighted keys, and it was actually fairly inexpensive compared to other weighted key keyboards like like your upper echelon keyboards. This one, when I got it, was on sale for like 200 and some change for a full 88 key weighted keyboard. It usually goes for about 350. So yeah, it's Alesis Recital Pro if you're interested. Cool. All right, let's add something else here. Worth, yes, there is aftertouch, so it is fully touch sensitive. Professor, yeah, Keylab 25. It's good. It's good. Go with it, man. That's a dope controller. Keep using it. But as far as aftertouch goes for the X-Key Air, definitely it's touch sensitive. So you guys should check out my review on this. It's on the channel. I have actually 2 videos on the CME X-Key Air. Lots of helpful information in there. Man, I'm trying to figure out what I want to do here. All right, here we go. Close. One more time. So close. Hold on. Okay, yeah. All right. Alright, I think I like what we've gotten so far. I don't think I want to go into the process of chopping yet, but we will be going into some chopping in a future video, specifically talking about how to sequence out a beat. So that'll be happening in an upcoming live stream. But I think I'm going to leave it where it's at for right now. Thank you guys so much for tuning into the live stream. Remember, I go live every Tuesday. These are only going to get better. We're learning, we're growing, and it's getting better. But I am super thankful for you guys for rolling through, for the community that's here. Really quick question of the day. Which musical element is the hardest for you to get right in your music production process? Is it the harmony? Is it the melody? Is it the bass, the drums? What is it that's your most challenging part? I'd love to know that down in the comments, and maybe I'll tackle an issue in a specific video coming up. But that being said, creatives, go make something dope, and I'll see you in the next video.